Hey guys, Kevin Rogers, Baby Garland TV. Middle of August here at Truman Lake in Missouri. It's actually my home lake. It's 45 minutes from my house, and I have not been fishing it this year because it was record high. So almost a 40-year-old lake, and it was record high this year. And the water got so high, it got into all the flooded fields, farmers' fields. I mean, it was in cornfields and bean fields and hay fields and willow trees and buckbrush, and there was so much flooded water. Those crappie went right up into that flooded stuff, and they were hard to catch. It was actually a needle in a haystack. So I've been driving to Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, crappie fishing. But here close to my house, it's a good summertime lake. Lakes that have dirty to dingy water are usually good summertime crappie lakes. Crappie's eyes are on top of his head. The light penetrating, if it gets to his eyes, he'll go deep to get away from that light. So in a dirty, dingy water, he can live a lot shallower. Shallower water crappie are easier to catch. Yeah. So think about that. If you're fishing in 60 foot of water, that crappie has from 0 to 60 feet to live. If you're living in 8 foot of water, it's only 8 feet that you have to figure out. So dirty, dingy water means shallow water crappie. Shallow water crappie are easier to catch. We're fishing. The lake has come down 20 feet in the last 2 months. What it's done is pushed all these crappie right to the edge of the shoreline, and they're living right off the buckbrush and willow trees. There's some amazing trees at Truman Lake out in the middle of the lake, and there's no crappie on them because every fish has been living up shallow for the last 2 months. It's finally dropping, and they're coming out of that shallow, and they're right on the edge. It's a perfect time to come. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I should have been videotaping all day long. I'm actually practicing for the Crappie Masters tournament here Saturday. I've caught 91 keeper crappie today in the middle of August. Summertime crappie fishing can be hot. Let me show you the bait. Something a little bit different for me. I'm using the Baby Garland Baby Shad in double silver rainbow. I'm finding myself using the Baby Shad. Number 1 selling bait in the world is the Baby Shad. I'm finding myself using it more and more now that I have live scope. Catching fish in the dead of summer. I'm sitting in 8 foot of water right now, and I see these fish stacked here. Oh, I should have caught one right there. Oh. Crappie have been stacked on the edge of the weeds. They've been living up in all of this flooded. They've been living up in the flooded willow trees and brush all year long, and it's finally dropped enough. It's just a good Missouri crappie. They've been living up in that flood stuff. It's finally gotten down to where they're coming out. I mean, the bite is unbelievable. Oh, I just had another one on. It's definitely been a feeding frenzy. They've been eating any shad. God, I didn't even set the hook on that one. Any shad color, type bait. They've been really wanting to eat those. Just a good eater. They're fat. They've been up in this green stuff, eating the bugs and all the stuff that live up in this flooded timber, so they're really healthy looking. Again, we're in Missouri, we're not in Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas, place that just has giant crappie. Right, this is a good crappie. Crappie's gonna weigh, over a pound. 110. And I'm not gonna eat any of these. I release a lot of crappie in a year's time, and it blows people's mind. I release all these crappie. I like catching giant crappie. The only way for me to catch a giant crappie is to release the smaller fish. So everyone loves eating them. I love eating them. There's a school of them up there. I can see on the live scope. There's at least 5 more crappie sitting right there. Up in this shallower water, using a 16th ounce head. I don't need a haven't fished deeper than 8 foot of water all day long, so I don't need a large lead head. So I'm using a 1/16 ounce. I've been switching it up, and I switched colors. That was the double silver rainbow. I'm gonna reach down here and get the #1 selling crappie bait of all time. Monkey milk. I've been switching up between a green chartreuse head and a bright chartreuse head. But late in the day, this green seems to be better than a bright chartreuse when the sun was low this morning. There he is. Oh, that's a good one. Better one. Better one. Another pounder. And they're just stacked out here. They're just staging out here. And it's hot. I got my swim trunks. I thought I was gonna go swimming today. And I might still. I mean, it's hot. You gotta stay hydrated. Stay hydrated out here. Oh. Man, it's fun. Love catching crappie. And this is just a numbers game for me. I'm just catching a lot of fish. 114. Another just good fish. Release him. Let him go. Oh, boy, black crappie. Black species. Oh, it's fun. No matter how big they are, they're sure fun to catch. Like I said, we're in Missouri today. The odds of us catching a giant crappie are not very good. There's just not a lot of giant crappie that live here. I mean, a 2-pounder is an absolute giant anywhere in the country, but it's an absolute monster in the state of Missouri. And just another one of them pound fish. August, I'll take pound fish all day long, close to home. Don't have to drive far. They're eating it. I think I'm back turned when I got that one. Again, just a simple approach. Yeah, don't even need him. We're sitting at 855. Tournament here this weekend. It's going to take 10.5 pounds to win, so I got to find some bigger fish. That's hard to do right now. They're just stacked. There's so many of them. So. Good stuff. 1 pole, 1 jig, no live bait. I've downsized. I like the big baits. I like going fast, but right now I'm going super slow. Not a lot of wind. I'm just using this, going back and forth, looking at the live scope, and I can see them stacked in there, and they're on the edge of this grass and this buckbrush and something. Very simple. Very simple fishing. Fun fishing though. Biting. I mean, I have to bet you catch one on every drop. Just switching up. Blue ice, monkey milk, pearl, double silver rainbow. That's a tongue twister. A little blue ice there. Just something little natural, small. There's a lot of small fish. I'm just catching fish. That's all I'm doing. I'm just having a blast catching them. Anytime your lake floods and it's been up forever and it comes down real quick and it stays, all them fish are going to pull out and be right on the edge, and that's all I'm doing. Pretty predictable fishing. Real predictable, real consistent. I've been coming down after work every day for about 5 days. It's the same pattern every day. Fun fishing. Summertime, get out there, stay hydrated. You can catch a lot of crappie. A lot of them. Oh, little guy. Take care of the little ones. Oh, easy, buddy. Take care of the little ones. Try to take care of the little ones. They're the ones who they grow up and be big ones. They make big ones someday. Just catching. Some days you're fishing, some days you're catching. Today we're catching. I mean, that's 100 crappie over 10 inches long. No giants, but my goodness, it's fun. Oh, me. Just tons of hook sets. Oh. Wow. Well, I'll wait for them days where they're biting, because I go a lot of times when they're not, so it makes it better the days that they are biting. Very simplistic, guys. Don't make fishing harder than it has to be. Oop, I'm gonna kill that guy if I don't be careful there. Got down his gill. Get out of there. Get him back in a hurry. Get him back so we can kill him. I rinse off my handle. There's so much crappie slime, my foam handle's getting slick. That's a good problem. I'm not complaining. There's got one there. Oh, yeah. Whew. When you have that many crappie in a school, oh, God dang it. It's like sometimes you got to get them fired up. Fire up that school and the rest of them will start biting. Airborne. Airborne. I was hoping for a big one and it wasn't. He didn't have enough weight to pull back. Little crappie or crappie too. Let him go, not keeping any today. Just pre-fishing, trying to find some schools of fish. Golly, that's fun. A lot of different ways to catch them. Control, you can cast, you can control crankbaits, you can throw bobbers. Nothing replaces the thump for me. I love that one pole with braided line, that thump. Woohoo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Yes, please. White crappie, white bass, largemouth, catfish, drum. I've caught everything. It's like the whole ecosystem has moved out to the edge, right where all these weeds are. I'll show you a picture right now of what I'm talking about, how flooded this is. Let's take a look. Spot lock that and flip you around here and you can see it's been flooded. They've had all this to go hide in, and man, that's not a very good time to go fishing. It's just too much. You can't pinpoint exactly where those fish are. It's a needle in a haystack. Now it's dropped and they don't feel comfortable up there anymore. It's dropped 20 feet in a month and a half, and they've moved all the way out here. They've worked their way right out here to the edge. It's like every fish in the entire lake is around the edge. It's awesome. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Here's a perfect example. Perfect example. See all these weeds and all that, willow trees, all this right out in here. Those fish live there all summer long, and I mean, they were on the top of those things, and now they moved right out here, right where this weed line is stopping. It's actually, it'll be horse grass or buckbrush, whatever you want to call it, and they're right out here where there is none. It's about 6 to 7 foot of water, but there's none way out in the middle. They're all just stacked right along the edge here, and that's why we're over 100 crappie today. One more place these fish are, we're on the shady side of these willow trees. They have a little bit deeper water in them, and they're stacked in here. Sometimes you just got to get right in there with them. And you can move this. You can see those fish stacked in there. Those right there are crappie. Crappie stacking in there. Gee whiz. There's at least 4 of them. 5, 6 right there. Yeah, don't overlook the shade. If you have a flooded lake, like Like these are willow trees here, and they're flooded. It's casting a my barrel pole just busting and everything. It's casting a shadow, and these fish are actually just laying in the shadow, not even on the tree itself. Pretty neat. Okay, guys, again, we're fishing at Truman Lake today here in central Missouri. Not known for giant crappie, known as a good crappie lake. It by no means, in my opinion, is it in the top 20 best crappie lakes in the world. There's a lot of good crappie lakes. Truman Lake wouldn't be one of those. You can catch a lot of numbers, but you're not going to catch a 14-pound sack on Truman Lake. It's never been done. I mean, 7 crappie that weigh 2 pounds. That's a great crappie lake for big fish. Still a great crappie lake to catch fish. Fishing report right now. I was fishing out of the Bucksaw area, Bucksaw Resort. I'll put that on the map right now for you on the screen so you can see where that's at. I fished right outside of Bucksaw there, and I fished the flooded willow trees and buckbrush and grass. That's where I found my fish. If you're living in Missouri and you want to fish Truman Lake, if you're fishing from the dam area on all the way to Bucksaw Marina, past Long Shoal, the fish are living right in the cedar trees. It's a good time to be on Truman Lake. They didn't bite. Well, they might have been biting, but you couldn't find them all summer. So tip. The baits we used, we kept it real simple. Today we used minnow-like baits, double silver rainbow, blue ice, and I think the winner for today, hands down, monkey milk, baby shad. I mean, what can you say about it? Look at it. It looks like a shad. It's hard to beat. So that was our number one lure. We fished 8 to 6 foot of water. Anytime I'm less than 8 foot of water and the wind's not blowing, I will downsize to a 16th ounce head. They seem to like it a little bit better. Been sponsored by Garland for 15 years. Before this live scope, I would be searching for crappie, and I'd like the bigger baits. This year I've been using the Baby Shad and the scent wigglers a lot more than I ever had before in my life, because I can actually see the fish and I can put that lure in front of their face. So these real natural baits, even though the water's still dingy, I still went with a natural bait, and those crappie destroyed it. I had minnows today. I don't like using minnows. They stink. They're a pain. I brought them because I didn't know how the bite was going to be. I didn't end up using them all that much because the bite was so amazing. But when I do use them, I went ahead and just put it right on the bait I was actually using. So I take a minnow here, and the way I would rig it right on my bait. I would take the minnow on his lips right there, and I'd take that hook, right through his lips. Try to keep it out of his brain. So he lives a lot. He'll live a long time if you just go right through his lips right there, just like that. Bigger profile bait. If you're going to use a minnow, man, I hardly ever fish it by itself. Put it on here. If they want a minnow, they're still going to hit it if it's on this thing more times than not. So there you have it. For all you guys that subscribe to Bobby Garland TV, I appreciate you. I should have been filming all day long. I've had my swim trunks on. I've been swimming. I'm just out here practicing. I wanted to show you this stuff, this flooded stuff. So if you have your home lake and it's been flooded for months on end and it drops all of a sudden and stays steady, get out there and find those crappie. It can be amazing. Summertime crappie fishing. Some of my favorite. It's pretty easy. It's consistent. Once you find them, they're reliable. They're going to be there every day because the weather's not going to change on you. So unless the lake's fluctuating real bad, you're going to catch a lot of crappie. Summertime crappie fishing. Go try it.